Hello and welcome to round 16 of the Spec Esports Tier 2 PS4 Pacific Series League. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator for this afternoon's race. We are here at the Russian Grand Prix here for obviously round 16 for this afternoon's race. We're going to have a quick look at the driver standings as it is at the moment. You can see on your screens there are a lot of drivers that unfortunately missed the last round here. So we're going to go through them now. I'm going to bring this up on my screen so I can see it a little bit easier. I do apologize for that. Okay, so as you can see, currently in first position on the driver's standings, we have Curving Texas, who is on 325 points. He's got a 90-point gap between him and Shumbo in the Racing Point behind him for position 2. Then we have in position 3 is the Red Bull driver of Ghost 01 GT. He's going to be wanting to make or start catching up to the Racing Point and the Haas in front of him, as there's only 6 rounds remaining, including this one. Then you got Artie Shangs in position 4 with his teammate right behind him, Kickbutt Kiwi right behind him. Then you got Scarsouls there in position 6 for the Ferrari. 7th is CRZ Footy. Then in 8th you have Misty Griffin. Kelts sits in 9th for McLaren. Rounding out your top 10 is Honest Crook in the Mercedes AMG F1 team. Kid Million F1 for Red Bull in 11th. One of our reserve drivers, Kazum in 12th. 13th is Aussie F1 for Renault. Williams driver Ken Tenma. El Tonki in the Red Bull 15th. 2 reserve drivers of Barbsy and the Big Steve in 17th. 18th is the McLaren driver of Smokegrass. 19th is Mars 360 Light, and rounding out your top 20 is Warrior Wasp for Haas F1 team. Now, as you can see for the constructor standings, we have Haas F1 team leading the way on 334 points. They have a pretty sizable lead at the moment behind Racing Point, or in front of Racing Point rather. Then you have the Alfa Romeo team, who are looking pretty good in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, sitting in position 3. Then it is Red Bull Racing F1 team in 4th, Ferrari in 5th, Toro Rosso 6th, McLaren 7th, Mercedes 8th. 9th is Williams, and rounding out the final team for the Constructor Championship on 35 points is Renault. We're going to jump over to the main screen now, as you can see. Unfortunately, we only have 14 drivers here this afternoon. A few drivers are a bit busy. It is a wet session here for the Russian Grand Prix. I'm just going to point out as well. If I believe I'm correct, it was actually El Tonki that predicted it would be a wet race. So props to him for getting that right. But anyway, I'm going to bring up on screen now all of the spectator extras for you. This is going to be down to who can set the fastest lap. I'm not too sure. Unfortunately, we do not get given the data of who or how long the rain's going to be staying around for, rather. By the looks of it, we're going to try and see who's first out on track. It definitely looks like it's a Ferrari of CRZ Footy. Moment in the Ferrari, as you can see. He's coming down the back straight now. He's going to be starting a lap. So normally the smart thing to do on the intermediate tyres is definitely do one lap in just completely run no ERS. Just try and get the warmth into your tyres in the next lap, because you've got a decent amount of warmth in the tyre. You can then push and open your allow your ERS to run through your motor to give you a little bit extra power, and that should help your lap, because then you also do set a banker time if you on your first lap as well. So if I was CRZ Footy here, I'll just leave it in none. Maybe even if he wants to, you can put it in low. No, he's opted to go straight to hot lap. So yeah, if I was him, I'd just definitely do a lap in low, and then his next lap around, because he's going to have warmer tyres, because it's very hard to warm up these tyres in the F1 game, especially the intermediates. He's starting his first lap now. He's the first driver to begin a lap here around Russia. He's going to come into turn 1 now. Where is he going to brake? Is he going to go deeper? Is he going to go cautious? No, he goes at the 100 meter ball, which is pretty deep for the weight. He runs really wide. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a invalidation there, but maybe because he was off the accelerator and pretty much sideways. They may think otherwise, the stewards. But anyway, coming under the bridge now. The Rolex bridge runs a little bit wide to the apex and a bit wide on exit. Pretty scruffy first sector of the lap for CRZ Footy in the Ferrari. Seems to be having a bit of issues with braking at the moment, but I'm not too sure. The conditions don't seem to be too heavy. As you can see, there's blue skies at the top left of your screen there. So the rain could be drying out towards the end of the race. There are a few drivers starting to let out now. We got Kickbutt Kiwi in the Alfa Romeo coming through turn 2 at the turn 3 rather. He just passed his teammate, getting out of the way there for the Alfa Romeo racing team. Coming into turn 5 now, goes nice and deep into the corner, gets it turned nicely. I do believe that Kickbutt Kiwi is one of our controller players. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not too sure what that's for. Very easy to lock up in this right-hander. It is off camber as Flogger Woggles is the first driver to set a time with a 1:49.2 for Racing Point. Coming through the middle sector now. I do apologise. I just had the audio off completely the whole time there. And unfortunately muted. I clicked the hotkey. Do apologise for that. Coming through the final, so he's about to cross the final sector line now is Kickbutt Kiwi. As now CRZ Footy goes to the top with a 48.2. That's relatively faster than the Racing Point driver of Flogger Woggles. It's just over a whole second. You can see Warrior Wasp gets out of the way there of the Alfa Romeo driver. Yellow flag in sector 3. I think that was just for the Red Bull driver trying to get out of the way there. Coming to the final sequence of corners now. Penultimate corner, gets in there nicely, doesn't use all the exit, so that's definitely going to lose a little bit of time, but he comes across the line now. He goes to pole position, does Kickbutt Kiwi in the Alfa Romeo with a 47 flat, so he seems to be around one of the quicker drivers at the moment. He's definitely a second quicker than anyone else at the moment, but there's only been 3 drivers that have set a time at the moment. There are a few drivers coming back into the pits. That's Misty Graffin, so I think he may have unfortunately invalidated his lap there. Got Curving Texas, who's currently our table leader in the Drivers' Championship. He's going to be one to watch. One of our pad drivers, again, if I'm correct. Yellow flag in sector 1 and 2, so I'm not too sure what that's for, but I think the harsh driver's passed it, so it shouldn't affect him. He's got drivers getting out of the way of Golden Alpine there. Coming through this long right-hander. Onto the straight. Basically, you want to minimize your steering input for this entire straight and make sure you get all the gear shifts at the optimal RPM before shifting up. Very easy to lock up into this right-hander. Obviously, famously, Carlos Sainz had a massive crash there back in 2015, if I was correct, when he was racing for Toro Rosso. Since he has been with the Renault F1 team and McLaren, which he is now racing for in the 2019 season. Coming through the final sector now. Kickbutt Kiwi still seems to be the fastest driver at the moment. Scarbs moves himself into position 4 for Renault. Coming through the final corner now to Curving Texas. Where's this going to move him up to? That's going to put him onto pole position by a bit of a margin actually for the Rich Energy F1 team. Sorry, the Haas F1 team rather. 45.7 is the time to beat at the moment, so that's a second and nearly a second and 7/10 faster than anyone else at the moment. Second and 3/10 rather. So Artie Shanks has just finished a lap, which I believe he's going again, which he is. That first lap there puts him into position 5. That was his first lap, by the way. Coming through turn 1 now, clips the apex nicely, doesn't run too wide. To this long left-hander now. I think he's backed off, if I'm correct. This is Go 01 GT now crosses the line and he goes into position 4 with a 48.2. Definitely Curving Texas seems to be the man to beat at the moment with a 45.7. He set a really competitive time there as the harsh driver. Coming out of the pits now for his second run is Flogger Woggles. He's going to be wanting to improve the time there. If I'm correct, Del Tonki is on a lap, which he is. One of our wheel drivers. I'm not sure if he's starting a lap or he's currently on a lap. I think he just finished a lap there, but he set a 51.2. Still manages to get ahead of Scarbs, but I think he's going to be setting a lap here. Definitely does seem to be shifting up very early in the gear, so I'm not too sure if that's just an issue with the replay system or not, but you can see out of this corner he's shifting up in the 5th, 6th already before the lights even come on, into 7th and about to clock 8th if I'm correct. No, maybe not, gets a little bit of oversteer going through the long left-hander. A bit wide on entry, this should push him a little bit wide. No, he actually manages to get back to the corner nicely. Anyway, we're going to head over to Curving Texas, who unfortunately is in the pit lane right now. He doesn't seem to have any pressure from anyone around him at the moment for the harsh driver, so that's a very exceptional lap there from Curving Texas. Then you got Kickbutt Kiwi, who I believe just finished the lap there. He, I do not think improved, because he has no ERS left, so I'm not too sure if he's just left it on or not, but he's only got 5% ERS to play with at the moment, so. Then you have CRZ Footy, who's on his outlap. Goes 0-1 GT, who moves himself up into position 3 as he just finished the lap there. He goes 8 tenths faster than his previous lap. So track definitely seems to be gripping up a lot now, and getting faster by the minute. Trying to cool the tyres there. Does go 0-1 GT running into the water. Trying to cool them down a little bit. They obviously seem to be a little bit hot. Get some water onto them. That should theoretically cool your tyres down. Got CRZ Footy now. I do not think he knew he was making that corner, but anyway, he decides to cut that. Either way, if he's on an outlap, by the way, I think he's got a driver right behind him that he does not want to let through. But he does seem to be lagging around a little bit, so we're going to leave him just so we don't have any issues. Scarbs is on an outlap at the moment, down in position 8. We're still waiting on Misty Greif and Ken Tenma. Candy Cane. Actually, Ken Tenma, I believe, is on his outlap, which he is. Candy Cane, Warrior Wasp, and Honest Crook about to start a lap. I think, actually, Warrior Wasp is on a lap at the moment. He might be getting blocked by Kickbutt Kiwi here, so you could see potentially a stewards incident there. But anyway, we'll let you know the next round, which I do believe is Azerbaijan, if I am correct. But anyway, Warrior Wasp comes across the line for his first lap. He moves himself into position 9 with a 154.439, 9 seconds slower than Curving Texas, his teammate. So he's got a little bit of time to find at the moment in the rain. Golden Alpine finishing a lap as it looks. He's going to improve his time by 2 tenths, but unfortunately was not able to move himself up any higher in the leaderboard. Ken Tenma on a lap at the moment, if I'm correct. I think he's doing the strategy that I said before. Just run it in low or none for his first lap, and then for his second lap, go out and do, well, his second lap, just continue on after. And you should have warmer tyres, and the car will be a lot grippier on his second lap than it definitely will be on his first lap. And if you go hard on both laps, you will not have ERS to play with or use on the second lap. So I definitely think he is doing the strategy that I said, unless he did make a mistake coming through turn 1 or the first sector, so he could have potentially backed off then. Honest Crook is on a lap at the moment. He used a lot of curve on the entry there. He's coming through the final sector now. We're going to see where he manages to put his Mercedes car. The only Mercedes driver here this afternoon. He actually decides to come in the pits there, so he's actually crossed the pit lane exit line, so it's not actually legal, but I don't think anyone's going to complain, to be honest. Artie Shanks gets out of the way of the Williams driver. Coming through the final sector now is Ken Tenma. Yellow flag in sector 3, I think that's just drivers getting out of the way. Coming through the final corner now. Where's this going to move the Williams driver up to? For his first lap. Moving up into P9, but he's definitely going to go again. As you can see, he's running in high ERS now, so this should, in theory, go a bit quicker this lap. It seemed to be a banker lap. He's still got 5 seconds to find us, Ken Tenma, so hopefully ERS does definitely help him there. I think he's backed out of that lap, unfortunately, so he's going to be wanting to go again. I definitely would have thought he was going to go again, but Artie Shanks is starting a lap now. He's going to be catching up to the rear of that Williams car, so hopefully he gets out of the way. But it is still Curving Texas on pole position with 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. He's on pole position with a 45.7. I'm going to have a look to see what the intervals are at the moment. Doesn't seem to work. Anyway, he's got a 1.2 second lead. Then he's faster than anyone else by 1.2 seconds at the moment in the rain. Obviously, this isn't the rain. I'm not too sure if it is going to be dry. You never see too much dry in the race, I should say. You never see too much rain here at Russia, so especially in real life. So it's kind of surprising that it is raining at the moment. Coming through the final sector now is Ondo Artie Shangs. Sorry. Warrior Wasp needs to get out of the way. He does just slightly. Definitely would have scared him a bit, the Alfa Romeo driver. That corner you tend to turn a little early there, as it is uphill slightly under braking, so you can't see your apex, but R16 is unfortunately out of ERS, as you can see at the bottom right hand of your screen, so he's not going to have any ERS to use for this remaining of the lap. Coming across the line now, where does he manage to get up to? He gets up into position 3. So that is currently an Alfa Romeo 2-3 at the moment. That's a very phenomenal result for the Sauber team, or the Alfa Romeo racing team. Kickbuck Kiwi's on a lap at the moment. We're going to see right on board with him for the remainder of this lap. Coming through this right hander now, gets to the apex nicely. Uses all the exit curb possible. Coming down the straight now, minimize the steering input at all, just to keep your top speed up as high as possible. This corner is very tricky as well, because it's basically how confident are you under brakes. If you are comfortable with braking and turning, then that corner is going to be definitely one that you're going to be good at. But if you're a driver that struggles with that, then that's going to be a little bit of an issue with that corner, as the majority of it is braking while turning. I think Kickbuck Kiwi's actually backed out of this lap because he has no ERS to use, unfortunately. Well, he may be starting another lap now, if I'm correct. Yes, he is. But there's still curving Texas on pole with 2 seconds, so 2 minutes remaining. R16, I do not know if he'll have enough time to come in to put another set on. He's actually on a lap at the moment, if I'm correct. Actually, no, I do not think he is. Sorry. Ghost 01 GT is definitely on a lap, so we're going to see how he's going at the moment. Coming through the middle sector. Flogger Woggles is actually retired from the session. I'm not too sure if that was oh, he's actually crashed as a Racing Point driver. Very easy to oversteer on that corner, as the entry to it is has a normal camber type of thing. It's inwards is the camber to the corner, but then it slightly drifts off towards the exit, as it is a long left-hander. It's very easy to lose the rear traction, especially in the wet as well. I do believe the majority of these drivers are running traction control, but it's still super easy, traction control or no traction control, to lose the rear end. But Go 01 GT is coming through the final sector now. He's got a massive tank slap. He still actually somehow manages to save it. Wish we were on board for that, but CRZ Footy's also retired from the session. Not too sure if he's crashed or he's just given up, as he doesn't think he's going to go any faster. But that moves Red Bull driver up into position 2. Still 9/10 of a second behind Curving Texas. So he's still got 9/10 of a second to try and find on the Harsh driver. He definitely seemed to be out at the right. He definitely seemed to be in the right place at the right time, was Curving Texas. He managed to get a really nice lap. We're going to ride on board here with the rest of the Go 01 GT's lap. He gets a lot of oversteer there. Trying to get on that gas a little bit too early and carrying a bit too much apex speed. That's Kickbuck Kiwi entering the pit lane now, which actually no, I think he's just retired from the session. So that seems to be the end of the session for the Alfa Romeo driver there. Then there's Artie Shengs, who is finishing a lap now, as you can see. We're going to ride on board with him coming to the final sector now. What is the Alfa Romeo driver going to be able to do? Will he be able to beat his teammate? He's only got around 0.18 of a second. He's got to try and find, but he's unfortunately spun out in the penultimate corner as the Alfa Romeo driver, so that's completely ruined his lap there. It's unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo team. They are going to end up in position 3 and 4, assuming no other drivers go much faster, but that was Honest Crook, I believe, coming across the line. No, it wasn't. That was Ken Tenma. Manages to only get position 10 there for Williams. Disappointing for him there. El Tonki is on a lap. I think Golden Alpine's actually maybe on a lap as well. I'm going to have a look. He is actually on a lap as well, so these two are actually going to hold each other up here. It's going to be a little bit of a battle. It's the Red Bull and Toro Rosso. I think Elton's backed out of it a bit, I think, because I think his sister teammates actually blocked him here. Yeah, he's actually backed out of it. So that's unfortunate there. I think he misunderstood the gap that he needed to have when he was starting his lap. So that's unfortunate there. Honest Crook now moves himself up into position 2. Now the second driver to be able to get into the 1 minute 45s. There's only 2 drivers at the moment that have managed to do that, and that's Curving Texas and Honest Crook. Ken Tenmar's finishes session. El Tonki's finishes session. Candy Cane was coming through the final sector now. No, he's coming to the pits. You got Warrior Wasp coming across the line now. Unfortunately, was not able to improve on his time. So it is Curving Texas on pole position here for the Russian Grand Prix. The 45.7 are definitely one of the most competitive times we'll see in this league around the Russian Grand Prix. Then we have Honest Crook in the Mercedes AMG F1 car, rounding out your top 2 or your front row lockout. Then you got Ghost 01 GT and Misty Griffin, the 2 Red Bull sponsored teams, rounding out your second row. Then you got Kitbuck Kiwi and Artie Shengs, 2 Alfa Romeo drivers, rounding out your third row. Then you got Flogger Woggles for Racing Point, CRZ 40 for Racing Point and Ferrari. Candy Cane in 9th for Williams. El Tonki for Red Bull in 10th. Ken Tenmar for Williams in 11th. Scarbs 12th. 13th is Warrior Wasp. Golden Alpine rounds out your top 14 here for the Russian Grand Prix here this afternoon. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everyone just so you can't hear the drivers. There's a few people talking in the background, but it is Curving Texas that takes pole position, as I read out before. Unfortunately, really good performance there from the 2 Alfa Romeo drivers, getting P5 and P6 as well. Unfortunate result there for Golden Alpine. He had around 8 seconds to find just to get anywhere near Curving Texas this time. Definitely Curving Texas is going to be one to watch as we are about to head over to the grid for the Russian Grand Prix. As you can see now, drivers are heading out for the formation lap here. It is Curving Texas on pole position here for the Russian Grand Prix. It is a dry race, by the way. So all the drivers will be on fresh tyres. Bring up the telemetry here for you guys. Everyone except for Kickbutt Kiwi in the Alfa Romeo and El Tonki down in position 10th are on the soft tyres. Those 2 have elected to use the medium compound tyre for this afternoon's race. The 27 laps around the Russian Grand Prix, but it's Curving Texas on pole position with Honest Crook in the Mercedes. Position 2 goes 01 GT for Red Bull 3rd. 4th is Misty Griffin in the Scuderia Tour also. Kickbutt Kiwi and Artie Shengs, the 2 Alfa Romeo teammates, round out the 3rd row with Flogger Woggles and CRZ Buddy in the 4th row for 7th and 8th. Candy Cane in the Williams 9th. El Tonki 10th for Red Bull. Ken Tenmar, who had an unfortunate qualifying session there, down in position 11. Scarbs in 12th. Warrior Wasp in 13th and Golden Alpine rounding out your grid here this afternoon. Hello and welcome to the stream. Reese Cohen, Zucchini and Spilly. El Tonki unfortunately had a pretty disappointing result there. You guys definitely seem to be his biggest supporters in a way. As you can see now, Curving Texas backing up the field, trying to get some decent heat into his tyres. You're not allowed to overtake on the formation lap. You don't want to overheat the tyres either, because it is very easy to overheat the tyres on the formation lap, and then that can completely ruin your start, because you will have a lot of wheel spin off the start line. They're coming through the final sector now. As you can see, Curving Texas is just waiting for the drivers behind him just to catch up, so he doesn't have to wait too long on the starting grid. Coming through the final sector now. I think the AOR car is now taking over. They are all heading over to the grid now. They will all be waiting for the Toro Rosso driver of Golden Alpine, who's sitting back a little bit actually. So, but they're actually going to be waiting a little bit. The front drivers for Golden Alpine to grid up for the Russian Grand Prix here. There is 27 laps ahead of the drivers for the Spec Esports PS4 F2, sorry, Tier 2 Pacific Series here in Russia. The light sequence is about to begin here for the Russian Grand Prix. As you can see, the lights are about to begin. There is 5 red lights in front of the drivers. The lights are out and away they go. As you can see, Candy Cane's already got himself a drive-through penalty for a jump start. So that's unfortunate there for the Williams driver. They're going to go side by side coming into turn 1 is Honest Crook and Curving Texas. They're nearly 3 wide with Go 01 GT. They're going to go 3 wide coming into turn 1. The Ferrari at the back there, I believe that is CRZ Footy, has weaved around the track a lot. But as you can see, the 2 leaders have actually gone wide on the exit of turn 1. But I only think Curving Texas was the one there that went around the bollard, so you could potentially see a penalty there for Curving Texas. And Go 01 GT goes down the inside, coming into turn 5 there. They're going to go side by side. This is turn 5 rather. I do apologise for that. You see, he's now taken the lead. Has a Red Bull driver. Honest Crook is now into position 2. As you see, Curving Texas in 3rd. Then you got Candy Cane, who unfortunately jumped the start, so he's got a drive-through penalty. In position 4, Floggle Woggles 5th for Racing Point. CRZ Footy in 9th. Floggle Woggles has gained himself a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting and gaining an advantage already on lap 1, so that's unfortunate here for... I completely forgot who that was. The Racing Point driver of Floggle Woggles. Is that Curving Texas going down the inside? No, that was actually Floggle Woggles making a massive dive there on Honest Crook. But I unfortunately think he ran a little bit too deep. And he's going to dive down the inside again, is Floggle Woggles. And he actually makes the move stick this time. Curving Texas, in the meanwhile, has also moved himself back up into position 2. So I do believe Floggle Woggles on Honest Crook actually made a bit of contact there, going through after the straight. But it is Go 01 GT that leads after the first lap, heading on to lap 2, with Curving Texas in the Haas, position 2. Floggle Woggles, who is now going to feel the pressure coming into turn 2. From Honest Crook in the Mercedes, they're going to go side by side. He's going to choose the outside line, is Honest Crook. He's going to potentially break deep, and no, the Racing Point car does. He's going to try and do the crisscross, but unfortunately Floggle Woggles defended that pretty nicely. Candy Cane has fallen off a little bit here from the front 4, but they're still going at it. Is Honest Crook, will he dive down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. He's going to sit behind the Racing Point for another lap. Candy Cane is going to start feeling the pressure from the 2 Alfa Romeo drivers. Unfortunately, Artie Shengs has got Scarbs in the Renault right behind him, starting to put a bit of pressure on him. Same as Misty Griffin, he's going to be putting the pressure on the Renault driver. CRZ Footy, unfortunately, went down a few positions there. Down into position 10, El Tonki in 11th, only lost 1 spot already. Warrior Wasp has moved off the spot. Ken Tenmar's lost 2. He's potentially had a little bit of contact on lap 1 there, so that's unfortunate for the Williams driver. That just adds to his bad weekend. Golden Alpine at the moment sitting in position 14th. Go 01 GT still leads the Grand Prix. As you can see, for Red Bull, he's got a 1.6 second lead from the Haas driver behind him. So Curving Texas will not have DRS on the next lap. If it stays as that gap, the DRS will be enabled on the next lap. Floggle Woggles has actually moved himself. Actually, no, he was already in position 3, sorry. Curving Texas has gone really wide, and so that was not Curving Texas. Floggle Woggles has run really wide on the final corner, promoting Honest Crook up into position 3. Curving Texas set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Sorry there. See, he's definitely making inroads at the moment on the Red Bull drivers, Honest Crook and Floggerwogs cut that first corner there. They will both be given warnings. You only get 3 warnings in the F1 game before you do get handed a penalty from the FIA stewards. Candy Cane is still under pressure from the 2. Alfa Romeo is there for position 5. Misty Griffin's fallen off a little bit, but CRZ Footy and Scarbs are going side by side coming through turn 5. Warrior Wasp has actually gained himself a 5-second penalty as El Tonki got a massive tank slapper there. CRZ Footy and I think Scarbs also made a bit of contact coming through that double right-hander there, so that I think CRZ Footy may have front wing damage, I'm not too sure. But Warrior Wasp is giving a lot of pressure to El Tonki here. Coming out to the back straight, Warrior Wasp in the Haas is going to have DRS. Will El Tonki defend it? He's up in overtake mode at the moment. Is El Tonki. Coming to the hairpin now. CRZ Footy tries to make a move on the Haas driver, but unfortunately was a little bit too far back to think about making a move. But he's definitely right on the rear of that Haas driver as he completely cuts that corner there. Does Warrior Wasp. Curving Texas is going even faster now. A 36.7. He's definitely making inroads on the Red Bull driver. He dives down the inside. Does CRZ Footy. Unfortunately, he had to cut the corner there, as I don't think Warrior Wasp gave him enough space. Well, he wasn't that far enough up, was it, the Ferrari driver? So he didn't really have to, did Warrior Wasp. That was the driver in the pit. That was Candy Cane. So Williams are not having a very good result or race here this afternoon. He's going to dive down the inside of CRZ Footy. Come into turn 1. He goes really deep on the brakes. Will he hit El Tonki? No, he doesn't. He just manages to. He was really deep compared to Warrior Wasp. He definitely... I definitely thought he was going to drill El Tonki there. Luckily, they did not make contact, as he did resort to the track that was on the inside of the corner there. But CRZ Footy still remains in position 11. Honest Crook is starting to feel the pressure now from Flogger Woggles. Definitely seems to be the faster driver at the moment. He's got DRS, does the Racing Point driver, coming down the back straight. Curving Texas only doesn't seem to be gaining much time on Go 01 GT. Definitely setting the fastest laps, but doesn't seem to be gaining enough. Will Flogger Woggles dive down the inside? He does. He goes down the inside. Coming to the hairpin, runs really deep though, but manages to pull it up nicely. And Honest Crook gets pushed back down to position 4. Will he dive down the inside? Come into this left-hander? No, he thinks better of it. He'll sit behind him until the front straight. Flogger Woggles gets a little bit of oversteer, and he does again through the next right-hander. Is he diving down the inside? It's Honest Crook. He does. I think Flogger Woggles noticed that and backed off a bit early. They're going to go side by side coming into this next right-hander. I think Flogger Woggles was definitely trying to be smart there. Trying to sit behind the Mercedes driver. He pretty much let him go because he knew he would get DRS coming down the straight. He should be able to easily fly past the Mercedes driver. Coming into turn 1, there's a little bit of lag involved here. They're going to come into turn 1. Will he dive down the inside? Flogger Woggles? He does. CRZ Footy is actually retired from the session. So we're going to run on board with Golden Alpine to see where he is. I think he's actually had an incident at the final corner, so that's unfortunate there for the Ferrari driver. But it is still Go 01 G2 is actually extending his lead. It's down, up to 1.6 now. It was 1.8 as it is now on your screens from the Haas driver. Then you got Flogger Woggles, who managed to get ahead of Honest Crook. Honest Crook will be wanting to stay within that DRS range. That's only edging Misty Griffin in position 5. Up a bit closer to this battle pack for the final position on the podium. Kickbutt Kiwi is right in the back of that too. So it is a battle between Flogger Woggles, Honest Crook, Misty Griffin, and Kickbutt Kiwi at the moment for the final spot on the podium. Artie Shanks is a little bit far behind at the moment, and he's going to start to have scarbs in his mirrors. Warrior Wasp is a little bit far behind at the moment. He's put a little bit of a lead to El Tonki for Red Bull. Ken Tenma at the moment in position 11, starting to catch up to these front 2 drivers. Then you got Candy Cane, the other Williams driver, and Golden Alpine in position 13. Heading on to lap 6 now. It is still Go 01 GT in first. As you can see, they're still going at it. There's Honest Crook and the Flogger Woggles coming to the final corner. I do believe Flogger Woggles will have DRS, which he does. Coming onto the front straight now. I don't know why, but Honest Crook actually tended around a little bit wide there as they went wheel to wheel going down the straight. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Unfortunately, Honest Crook has backed out of that, but that's the Red Bull driver there. So the Toro Rosso driver. Oh, no, now you can see Flogger Woggles has spun around on the exit of turn 1, so that's unfortunate for him. I do believe there was actually a bit of contact there between him and Misty Gryphon. Rejoining the track was Misty Gryphon, so he could be looking at a penalty here for an unsafe re-entry to the track. He definitely ran way too deep coming into turn 1, tried to make it 3 wide. But it's Honest Crook that now is into position 3. He's got Misty Gryphon in the Toro Rosso driver. Right in his mirrors. Kickbutt Kiwi's right there to take any advantage of these two crashing into each other as well. Artie Sheng's a little bit too far behind still to think about making a move. Coming down the back straight now. Another driver's close enough. Will Misty Gryphon down the inside? No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. He'll probably voice crack. He'll probably wait till the front straight. Honest Crook gets a really bad run. Out of that long left-hander there, gets a snap of oversteer and a snap of oversteer again through that next left-hander. Coming down the short straight now, heading into the penultimate corner. Runs a little bit wide there, does the Toro Rosso driver, but Honest Crook has a 0.6 of a second lead ahead of the Toro Rosso driver, who now has DRS. Will Misty Gryphon be able to make a move? He's definitely gaining a lot on the Mercedes driver. Honest Crook doesn't actually decide to defend there. So they're going to go side by side, come into turn 1, and Misty Gryphon manages to get the position, but quickly after, Honest Crook gets the better run out of the corner, pushing him back up into position 3, but they're still going side by side. Coming into the next corner, are they going to go side by side? They do. Misty Gryphon tries to go back down the inside, but unfortunately is a little bit too far back to stick his nose up there. Now that's Kickbutt Kiwi trying to make a move on the Toro Rosso driver, but still he's also a little bit too far back. Artie Shanks is actually running by himself at the moment. Then you got Scarves, Warrior Ross, El Tonki, and a little battle pack that is about to start forming. There's a little bit of a Red Bull end plate there, so I do believe that was a Toro Rosso car. Yes, it was a Toro Rosso car, because the end plate for the Red Bull has Mobile 1 on it. So that could potentially be Misty Gryphon or Golden Alpine that has a bit of front wing damage at the moment. Will he make a move, Misty Gryphon? No, he sits behind him again, coming down the back straight. Honest Crook definitely seems to be a lot quicker through that second sector, just getting enough of a space between him and the Toro Rosso driver behind him to stay ahead down that back straight. But Misty Gryphon definitely seems to be pretty confident coming through this final sector. Honest Crook's definitely going to be under pressure coming into turn 1 and 2. So I'm not too sure if this right kink on the straight here is counted as turn 1. So I believe this is turn 1 here, and then this next corner is turn 2. But anyway, Honest Crook definitely seems to be far enough ahead of Misty Gryphon at the moment to held his position for position 3. El Tonki moves ahead of Warrior Wasp, but they're going to go side by side coming to turn 1. No, Warrior Wasp unfortunately was not able to make a move. El Tonki runs really wide on exit there. So that moves the Red Bull driver up into position 8 now. He's got Scarves right in front of him. Does not have much ERS to play with, does the Red Bull driver? But it is now definitely seems to be one of the battle packs that are starting to build up. As you can see, El Tonki runs a little wide again. Definitely struggling with turn in or exit turn in by the looks of it. Coming through the middle sector now. Will El Tonki be close enough to make a move on the Renault driver of Scarbs? Definitely seems to have the better exit of the two. He's got DRS now. He doesn't seem to be running any RS at the moment. He's running none, so he's trying to definitely save some. He's still got the run. Will he try to dive down the inside? He does defend as the Renault driver sits behind him for another lap, so I definitely think El Tonki's striking area will have to be the front straight of turn 1 and turn 2. I'm going to call turn 1 that little right kink, so do correct me if I am wrong, but I do believe that is counted as turn 1, but El Tonki definitely didn't get the nice run through that corner. Through the final corner now, El Tonki. Warrior Wasp this driver here, as you can see, has gained himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings. He's just managed to get DRS on the Red Bull driver in front of him. It is out to 1.1 seconds now, so he must have been within that 1 second between him and the Red Bull driver when he hit the DRS detection zone. But unfortunately, Altonki was a little bit too far back to make a move on Scarbs. Honest Crook has still got the pressure from Misty Griffin. Kickbutt Kiwi has fallen off a little bit as Misty Griffin gets a fair bit of oversteer there. Will he be able to make a move? Coming down this back straight. Honest Crook runs a little bit wide on exit, but doesn't seem to affect him as much as I would have thought. He's going to be in the slipstream, and DRS is the Toro Rosso driver. He's running in low ERS mode at the moment, so definitely doesn't seem to be aiming to make a move coming into this corner. He'll be waiting for turn 1, but he's definitely close enough now. Here's the Toro Rosso driver. They've all actually converged on each other. Kickbutt Kiwi's caught right back up, so he definitely seems to be very quick in the final sector as his teammate R16 runs really wide there. Actually, we're going to have a look here. I think Scarbs and Altonki are going at it, which they are, as you can see. They're going to go side by side, is him and Warrior Wasp. But we're going to move back up to this front battle pack now. Misty Graffin's going to have the run coming to turn 1. Will he be able to make a move? He's going to go down to the inside line. Hopefully he doesn't outbreak himself like he did last lap. And he manages to get the position for the final place of the podium. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. If I'm correct, that was actually between Altonki. Actually, has moved back down to position 10. Warrior Wasp has got ahead of him. So I'm not too sure what happened there. There may have been an incident between those two of Warrior Wasp and Altonki, because Ken Tenmar's actually moved himself up into position 8 ahead of those two drivers. So is Candy Cane now. He's moved himself ahead of the Red Bull driver. Will he dive back down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. He's going to sit behind him for a little bit longer. This is Altonki. But that's definitely helped Scarbs out. That's gave himself a 2-second lead to Ken Tenmar behind him. Artie Sheng is running a pretty lonely race at the moment, by himself in position 6. Kickbutt Kiwi's just managing to keep with these two drivers at the moment of Misty Gruff and Honest Crook. Go 01 GT still sitting, well, has extended his lead from Curving Texas in the Haas at the moment. So he definitely seems to be very quick at the moment, does the Red Bull driver. It is lap 11 of 27 here. You're going to see some strategies start to come into play from around lap 13-ish, if I am correct. But he's got the run now to Altonki. Sorry, Kickbutt Kiwi. Will he be able to make a move on Honest Crook coming into turn 1? He does not have the ERS to play with. He's only got 3% remaining. So he's going to have a lot of ERS to saving up to do. He's got 7% ERS remaining. And it's only lap 11, so... He's in the slipstream of Honest Crook. Will he make a move coming into turn 5 here? No, he thinks better of it. Honest Crook runs really wide though on exit. Will he try and dive? No, I don't think he will. If I have to be honest, it's definitely safer. Misty Graffin trying to make a little bit of a lead here between him and the Mercedes behind him to try and stop Honest Crook from getting DRS. He's run wide there. As Honest Crook definitely starting to feel the pressure now from the Alfa Romeo driver behind him. He's run wide again. So he's going to get down the inside. It is Kickbutt Kiwi moving him up into P4. But I don't actually think Honest Crook would mind a lot there, because now he's going to have DRS, but Kickbutt Kiwi got a really nice exit there, so they both don't have much ERS to play with at the moment, unfortunately. Kickbutt Kiwi's got 6% ERS. Will he dive down the inside with Honest Crook? No, he doesn't. The smart thing here would be for the Mercedes driver just to let Kickbutt Kiwi sit in front of him, sit with it behind his DRS, and try and save a bit of ERS while at it. And hopefully they'll be able to catch up to the Toro Rosso driver of Misty Griffin. Altonki has now got a 3-second time penalty added to his race time for multiple warnings. Honest Crook definitely seems to be struggling on these soft tyres. Does Kickbutt Kiwi have DRS? No, he doesn't. So Misty Griffin has managed to get out of that 1 second range to the two drivers behind him, but Honest Crook definitely will have DRS on Kickbutt Kiwi. So this is definitely going to be helping him. As you can see, he's running in low ERS, so he's definitely trying to save a bit of that energy recovery system. Ken Tenma and Artie Shengs are in the pits at the moment. A bit of slow stop there if I was correct there from the Alfa Romeo team. But Ken Tenma's coming into the pits now. He's right at the end of the lane as the Williams team is located. He's got a front wing change there, does Ken Tenma. They're going to come out really close as Artie Shengs and El Tonki. Is he going to go around the outside? El Tonki does. He manages to get ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver. Actually, no, he's got the better run as Artie Shengs. They're going to go side by side, coming into turn 5. Going to go neck to neck. But Artie Shengs manages to get ahead of the Red Bull driver. As he runs really wide on exit there, heading onto the AstroTurf. But it is still this man who is now into the pit lane. Go01 GT pits now, the race leader. There's a 4-second lead to Curving Texas, who's actually in the pits as well. Mr. Graffin is staying out for another lap. No, he actually decides to pit. So does Mercedes of Honest Crook. Was correct, that's Kickback Kiwi decides to stay out for another lap. So now, as you can see, Ghost has finished his pit stop. He's coming out towards the end of the pit lane now. Kevin Texas has finished his pit stop as well. I don't believe any of those drivers actually made a pit stop there. But Curving Texas has going to have about a 5-second gap between him and the race leader when it comes to turn 1. No, actually it's around 4.6 of a second. So he's got a little bit of work to do. The majority of these drivers will all be doing a one stop. If you guys are new around here as well, please do hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to get notified when the RaceSpec Esports Championship does go live. If you are wanting as well to join the league, there is a link in the description if you scroll down to join the RaceSpec Esports League. We host a variety of different leagues as well. There is the Pacific Series, European Series, American Series, European Series. I do think I just said that, Pacific Series. We have a F2 Championship, which is only held one round, so you will not be late for that. This is the majority of these leagues are in Season 1 at the moment, and we have been getting many big fields. Unfortunately, tonight we only had 14, as a few drivers had a few things on with their lives. So obviously that will take priority over league racing, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So if you are wanting to join, please do hit that link in the description and it will tell you everything to do. It will ask you your platform, which league you would like to join. Then you join our Discord server. You'll get put into a group chat and you will be good to go. You'll get completely notified with push notifications when the races are going to begin. But anyway, Kickback Kiwi is still staying out at the moment. He is on the medium tyres, by the way, so no wonder he's still out on track. He's got about 8 seconds to go 01 GT. That was about the same when he exited the pit lane, so he doesn't seem to be losing too much to the theoretical leader at the moment. So you can see that's the gap now between Ghost 01 GT. So he's coming through that double left-hander now. Here's Kickbutt Kiwi. We're going to ride on board with Ghost 01 GT. He is about to head through it now. As you can see, there's about an 8.7 seconds between the Alfa Romeo driver and the Red Bull driver. Curving Texas still sitting at around that 4.2 second mark between the Red Bull and himself. Then you've got Misty Graffin. Toro Rosso has managed to pull a fair bit of a gap between him and Honest Crook. Artie Shengs sitting in position 6 on lap 14, as you can see. Then you got El Tonki in 17, Scarbs in 8th, Ken Tenma in 9th, Candy Kane, his teammate, in position 10. You got Warrior Wasp in position 11 at the moment, who's starting to feel the pressure from Flogger Woggles in position 12. Unfortunately, had contact at the beginning of the race, so that's unfortunate. That was very unfortunate, as he did look very quick, did the Racing Point driver. Then you got Golden Alpine starting lap 15 now. Ken Tenma's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting or track extending warnings. He's actually moving out of the way now, so I'm not too sure why he's getting out of the way of Go 01 GT there. Kickback Kiwi does still lead the way. As you can see on the screen now, we're going to head over to the championship standings real quick. As Curving Texas still in first, as you can see, but Go 01 GT is in third at the moment, so this probably should move him up into position 2, as Shumbo, I do not believe, is in racing here this afternoon. So that should move him up into position 2 for the standings. Artie Shengs, I'm not too sure. I do think he may move into position 3 ahead of the Racing Point driver, but we'll have to see when that comes towards the end of the race here. Artie Shengs now decides, sorry, Kickbutt Kiwi rather, does decide to make a pit stop now. He's going to be going onto the soft tyres, if I'm correct. 17 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Go 01 GT is going to come through the final corner now, so he's definitely going to move ahead of the Alpha driver. So is Curving Texas, but it may be close between Kickbutt Kiwi and Misty Griffin. Misty Griffin, as he finishes pit stop, no he hasn't. He's going to be coming out of the pit lane now. Just about to exit. Misty Griffin's coming down the final straight, so Misty Griffin should get ahead here of Kickbutt Kiwi, as you can see, but Honest Crook is going to be tight between him and the Alpha driver. They're going to come out, but Honest Crook definitely seems to be clearly ahead there. Artie Shengs is a little bit too far behind his teammate to try and make a move, unfortunately. But Kickbutt Kiwi is going to be on fresh soft tyres, as you can see, and Honest Crook's on around 3 to 4 lap old soft tyres, so Kickbutt Kiwi is definitely going to have the advantage here. Tried to make a move coming through this right-hander as Honest Crook runs really wide. He's going to go down the inside. Is Kickbutt Kiwi moving him up into position 4. They are still right next to each other. Coming down this little straight here. Will he try and make a move? Honest Crook definitely seems to be struggling at the moment, keeping the car within the track limits. But he is also the only Mercedes driver at the moment that currently is in this league. As you can see, the reason being Mercedes all the way down in 8th, so that all 54 points gained for Mercedes was by the driver of Honest Crook. Sorry, I tried to remember the name there. Now Curving Texas now responds in the Haas with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's actually gained nearly a second after those pit stops on the driver in the lead of Go 01 GT, as Kickbutt Kiwi has now gained himself a 3-second time penalty. So is Floggle Woggles down in position 12 for Racing Point. He is right on the rear of the moment of Warrior Wasp. Will he try and make a move? No, he's a little bit too far back at the moment than I think he ideally would like to. He could try and dive. Thought about the move, definitely thought about it. Cuts that corner, which gains himself another 3-second time penalty, so he's gained 6 seconds worth of penalties within 1 second. He's going to try and dive down the inside of Warrior Wasp. That was very ambitious there from the Racing Point driver. Definitely was never going to pull that up. Warrior Wasp definitely wasn't going to be expecting it. Will he dive down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. He'll wait till the straight. Yellow flag in sector 1. I'm not too sure what that's for. Scarbs. Actually, there's an incident, I think, between Scarbs at the moment. Actually, no, he has moved into the pit lane as Scarbs. But now, he's still going to be going side by side for the final points paying position. Coming into turn 1, Racing Point driver clearly gets ahead of the Haas driver. Will he dive back down the inside? Will he do the switchback? No, he doesn't. That moves Floggle Woggles back into the points paying positions, into position 10. But it is not over, actually. The Haas driver tried to stick his nose up the inside, coming through this long left-hander, but unfortunately was not able to get far enough up. El Tonki just came out of the pits there. He is on the soft tyre, so he's going to be quick, catching up to Candy Cane and maybe even Ken Tenmark coming towards the end of the race. Curving Texas definitely seems to be going pretty quick here at the moment. He's pulled 4/10 of a second out of the leader in that lap alone, so as you can see, the gap is definitely closed up. It's now Kickbutt Kiwi with the fastest lap of 1:35.6. So he's going to be trying to catch up to Misty Graffin. There is a 1.2 second lead. Warrior Wasp was disqualified from the session for receiving multiple time penalties. So that's unfortunate for him. Down in position 11. You can see now he's officially been disqualified from the Russian Grand Prix here. That's unfortunate for the Haas driver. But there's definitely going to be a battle here between Curving Texas and Ghost 01 GT coming towards the end of the race. And also Misty Graph and Kickback Kiwi are actually starting to converge on each other. Kickback Kiwi definitely seems to be one of the quicker drivers on track at the moment. Eltonki's got a 3-second time penalty to his name as well. Coming down the short straight now. Heading onto the back straight. One of 2 DRS zones available here in the Russian Grand Prix circuit. Kickback Kiwi still seems to be a little bit too far behind at the moment to make a move. He probably will be aiming to try and make a move. Will the Alfa Romeo driver coming into turn 1 and 2 or down the front straight? He's definitely got the run and the tyre grip over the Toro Rosso driver. He's going to have DRS here, and he's already alongside. Coming down the straight, he's already ahead coming before coming into turn 1. So that's a pretty easy move there for Kickback Kiwi. But obviously, Misty Graphin's going to have the slipstream, but Kickback Kiwi has a DRS. It's definitely way too powerful. Runs really deep there. That's the Toro Rosso driver. That moves Kickback Kiwi into position 3. Kevin Texas is still sitting around that 2.5 second mark. He's definitely had 2 or 3 laps where he definitely looked like he was gaining on Goose 01 GT as there is 8 laps remaining. He definitely seemed like he was catching all the fast, definitely the faster driver out of the front too. But he's now sitting at that 2.5 mark and not seeming to be gaining at all. Have to watch next lap. It is currently at 2.5 seconds. Artie Shanks has got a 3-second time penalty now. Coming down the back straight now is Kickback Kiwi. Mr. Graffin's fallen off a little bit. He's just within the DRS range of the Alfa Romeo driver. But I don't think that would have helped him too much, as he is going to be out of the DRS range if I'm correct. Heading onto the front straight now. Honest Crook is still a little bit far behind. He's going to start to be caught now by Artie Shengs if I'm correct. Ken Tenma and Candy Cane by themselves at the moment. Then you got El Tonki in position 9 trying to catch down those 2 Williams. He's one of the 3 drivers if I'm correct on the soft tyres. Woggle Woggles and Ghost has now got a 3-second time penalty. I'm not too sure if Curving Texas has a time penalty, so that'll be interesting when it comes towards the end of the race, because it is now down to 1.9 between the front 2 as there is 7 laps remaining. Flogger Woggles by himself at the moment in the Racing Point car. Scarbs in position 11 and 12th at the moment is Golden Alpine. 12 drivers remaining in this session. There you go. As you can see, Curvy Texas pushing a little bit too hard now. Gained himself a 3-second time penalty, so Ghost 01 GT won't know that, but that's definitely going to help him when it comes towards the end of the race. This is definitely going to, as you can see there, Curving Texas hits a wall on the entry to the corner, so he may have got a bit of front wing damage there, not a blue sky. Coming to the final sector now is the Haas driver. Kickback Kiwi has now got himself out of that 1-second mark to the Toro Rosso driver behind him, and is now just under 2 seconds between those 2 drivers. Curving Texas has got 1.7 seconds between him and first place at the moment. Heading on to the 21st of 27 laps here for the Russian Grand Prix. It is 1.7 seconds as it stands. We're going to have a look next lap when they come around to see if he has gained or lost any time to the Red Bull driver as Curving Texas. Through turn 1 now, we're going to ride on board with him with his long left-hander. It's actually surprisingly easy to lose the rear end here. If you just get in that aero wash of the driver in front, it's very easy to lose the rear end going through that long left-hander. Very wide turn in for that previous turn 5 there that he just went through. Now turn 6. Through turn 7, through turn 8 now. You want to compromise the first part of that left-hander to get the exit better on the second part of that double right-hander. Coming through probably one of my most hated corners at the moment of this track, as it definitely in the real F1 world is not suited for an F1 car really, as it is a heavily aerodynamic corner. And then you got a DRS straight, or definitely one of the better overtaking spots right after it. It's definitely not one of the better corners in F1. Doesn't seem to affect drivers too much in the game, as I do not think I think originally in 2017 and 18 they definitely I don't think they even overdid it. I think it was actually really realistic that the dirty air that you would get from the driver in front of you, but I don't think the majority of drivers like that, so they just lowered it that fraction bit. As you can see, Flogger Woggles has now been lapped in this Grand Prix. He's into the pit lane as well, so he could potentially have a bit of front wing damage. So now it is 1.9, so he's actually lost a bit of time. As a harsh driver, he was off 2/10 on that lap. But it is still this man that leads the Grand Prix. Kid Buck Kiwi gets ahead of the lap car of Flogger Woggles. Misty Graffin still running by himself on lap 22 at the moment. He's managed to pull out a 2-second lead as Artie Sheng's on his crook actually going at it. Coming into turn 4 now. Long left-hander. Will he try and dive down the inside? On his crook. No, he actually backed out there, so he thought better of it. He's going to sit behind him for a little bit longer. Try and make a move down the second DRS straight. Artie Shanks has definitely lost a lot of time there to Misty Gryphon. A lot of oversteer there, understeer, as you can see from the Mercedes driver. He's obviously struggling with grip. He's having to make a few different turn-ins, or multiple turn-ins. He's got DRS as on his crook, but he's got 9/10 of a second between him and the driver in front of Artie Sheng, so that's not going to be ideal for him. I don't like that camera view, so I'm trying to wait for him to turn it off, but anyway. Coming through the final sector now, as you can see, on his crook is right on the rear of the Alfa Romeo driver. Will he be able to make a move coming to turn 1 and 2? He's got DRS, but unfortunately, I think he's a little bit too far back here. Here's Mercedes driver. He's going to have to sit behind him for another lap. He's gaining a lot. He's on his crook. He runs really deep into turn 1. But unfortunately, was not close enough to make a move. Kevin Texas, currently the driver sitting in position 2 at the moment. He's brought the gap still at around 1.2 of a second. Definitely getting close to that rear diffuser of the Red Bull driver of Ghost 01 GT. I think once Kevin Texas gets within DRS range, he'll definitely be able to gain a lot more than what he is at the moment on Ghost 01 GT. He hasn't put a foot wrong yet that we've seen at the moment has Ghost 01 GT. If I'm correct, he's only got 1 time penalty at the moment with which is the 3-second, but so is Curving Texas. If I'm correct, he's actually got 2 3-second time penalties, does the harsh driver. So it is 1.1 seconds as Flogger Woggles goes fastest now. For Racing Point car, 34.9. He's on a fresh set of soft tyres, may I point out as well. The Curving Texas was just out of DRS range there, so that was unfortunate for him. Hopefully next lap he will be able to close up the gap to the front driver of Ghost 01 GT. There's 3 laps remaining in the Grand Prix. Honest Crook is still right on the back of R16. We got really close there. Did R16 run really... Sorry, did Honest Crook ran really deep in the corner, but unfortunately was not able to get the traction out of the corner than I think he ideally would have wanted to. Definitely will be suffering from a little bit of dirty air from that Alfa Romeo car, well, that is being produced by that Alfa Romeo car. I don't think he'll be able to make a move coming down the second DRS straight, but he just has DRS as Honest Crook. Definitely seems to be struggling compared to R16 through that middle sector. Has no ERS to play with. I don't know why he's in overtake mode. Definitely through this next sector I'd be running in none, if anything. Just to save as much ERS as possible. Curving Texas is now. Curving Texas definitely seems to have 1 or 2 laps where he definitely gains on the leader, but then he falls back. He doesn't seem to be able to continue to catch up to Go 01 GT. I just saw it was 1.1 seconds between the two drivers a lap ago. Now it's 1.5 of a second, so he's lost 4/10 of a second in the space of 1 lap. Kickbutt Kiwi on lap 25 of 27. There's 3 laps are remaining in this Grand Prix. Sits in position 3 with Misty Graf in 4th. Artie Shanks and Honest Crook still going at it for position 5. Ken Tenma by himself at the moment. Then he's got Candy Cane El Tonki going side by side. Coming to this left-hander, El Tonki backs out of it, but Candy Cane really wide on the exit. Will he have the run? El Tonki definitely will have DRS and slipstream coming down the front straight. Has a little bit of VRS to play with. Runs wide, does Candy Cane. He's going to get the overlap. Does El Tonki. Should slip back into his slipstream, but decides to just go straight down the inside. He's got DRS. He's got overtake mode on, and that should be all that he needs. El Tonki to get ahead of the Williams driver. Will he dive down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. Does Candy Cane. So hopefully this battle continues towards the end of the race. But as you can see now, it's actually Curving Texas. He's got a 1 second lead gap between him and Go 01 GT. Now it's 1.1 seconds. So he definitely seems to be gaining as they both head on to the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Will Go 01 GT be able to hold off a fast-charging Haas F1 driver of Curving Texas? He runs a little bit wide there, does Curving Texas. Kitbuck Kiwi by himself at the moment. He's got Misty Griffin in his mirrors, but Honest Crook has unfortunately fallen off a bit from the Alfa Romeo driver of Artie Shengs. For position 5, so he looks like he's going to settle for position 6. Ken Tenma in position 7. El Tonki. It's actually yellow flags in sector 1. Not too sure what that was for. Could have been just a local yellow. Could have actually been Golden Alpine getting lapped. No, it wasn't. So I'm not too sure what that was for. But it's 1.2 seconds between the two leaders at the moment. He will not have DRS this time. Will Curving Texas. Candy Cane's got a 3-second penalty. Will Curving Texas be able to get within that DRS range of Go 01 GT? Heading on to the final lap. Through the final sector now. He's within 1 second now. It's Curving Texas. Will he be able to keep that though? It's down to 7/10. So we'll be able to get DRS coming down the main straight. How much ERS is Go 01 GT got? They both have around the same ERS range. So he's going to have DRS here as Curving Texas. So heading on to the final lap of this Grand Prix round, lap 27 of 27. Curving Texas has DRS. They're going to be neck to neck coming into the final part of this lap. He's gaining so much as Curving Texas. Ken Tenma's got a 3-second time penalty. But now the Haas driver's right on the rear of Go 01 GT, heading on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Through turn 5 now. Still right on the rear. He's going to hopefully have DRS. There's the lap car, I believe that is Scarbs, in front of him in the Renault. So hopefully he gets out of the way of these two battling But it's going to be neck to neck coming towards the end of the lap. Will Curving Texas make a dive? He's right on the rear now of Ghost 01 GT. GT runs a little bit wide. He's going to have DRS. Is Curving Texas. They're going to go side by side. GT definitely does not have the run on the final lap now. Curving Texas has moved into the lead of the Grand Prix. Will Ghost 01 GT dive down the inside? He tries to, but does not have the braking ability. Curving Texas moves into the lead and looks like he's going to keep it as well. Curving Texas has not led a lap this entire Grand Prix. The only lap you need to lead is the last lap heading into the final sector now. Curving Texas is going to take the win here for the Russian Grand Prix. It is Curving Texas for the Haas F1 team who takes the win here and for the Russian Grand Prix. Very unfortunate for Ghost 01 GT, led the entire race from lap 1, but unfortunately was taken away from him on the final lap. Kip Bakili settles for position 3 in the Alfa Romeo. Misty Griffin comes home P4. Artie Shengs is going to come home P5 ahead of Honest Crook in P6. Ken Tenma still heading through the second sector, so that's the gap, as you can see, between 7th and 6th. El Tonki and Candy Cane have now split up from each other. Unfortunately, there's no real battles going on at the moment. Golden Alpine has been lapped in this Grand Prix. But it was Curving Texas who took the win on the final sector, the final lap of the Grand Prix. Massive congratulations to him, but a lot of bad luck there. Definitely went towards Ghost 01 GT. He definitely seemed to be the quicker driver to Curving Texas. But El Tonki's coming through the final sector now, as you can see. Coming through the penultimate corner, just got to negotiate this nice and tidily. He will definitely settle for position 8. Golden Alpine gained himself another 5-second penalty for an unserved penalty. Candy Cane and Scarbs are coming through the final sector now. Candy Cane settles for position 9 and taking home, which will be the final point for the Grand Prix, will be Scarbs. He runs wide. He's going to do a bit of a donut here. Hopefully, no, he just ran wide. Actually, he is going to do a few donuts. Nice donuts, man. Try to do donuts anyway. He's going to reverse across the line. I hope he gets disqualified, honestly. No, he doesn't. Alright, don't worry about that. It would have been funny if he got disqualified. But it was Curving Texas that took the win for the Haas F1 team here in Russia. See the drivers now heading out for a well-deserved podium there. Very, very unfortunate for Ghost 01 GT. Led the whole race except for the final sector on the final lap. He's going to be very, very disappointed with that. That's definitely going to extend Curving Texas's lead there. Congratulations to the top 3 podium getters. But it was Curving Texas who took the win here for the Russian Grand Prix ahead of the Red Bull driver of Ghost 01 GT. Pretty much every driver had at least one time penalty given to them that race. Kickbutt Kiwi in the Alfa Romeo gets 3rd. Misty Graff in 4th for Toro. So running at your top 5 is Artie Shengs for Alfa Romeo team. Really good result for him. Honest Crook for the AMG Mercedes Petronas team. Gets position 6. Ken Tenma for Williams in 7th. Tonki 8th. Candy Cane 9th for Williams. Scarbs rounds out your top 10 for Renault. 11th was Golden Alpine, who was the last of the classified finishers. Then you got CRZ Footy, who unfortunately DNF'd for Ferrari. Then Racing Point driver and Warrior Wasp in Haas, unfortunately, were disqualified. But that is your Race Spec Esports PS4 Tier 2 Pacific Series here this afternoon. Russian Grand Prix. If you are new around here, please do hit that like button and turn on post notifications and subscribe to get notified when the stream goes live. And we will see you guys next time, which I do believe it is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.